I'm not going to talk for much longer than 5 more seconds. I'm Gianni Rodriguez from Goals, and I'm going to hand us off to Michael to start us off with intros. Oh, wait. Absolutely. Can you hear me now? Are we good? Too much feedback? Alrighty. How's that? We doing okay? We're gonna kick us off with Michael. He had to get ready with his hat on. All right, Michael, take it away.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
We are here in front of Steve Croman's home, which he obtained by evicting 27 tenants over a period of time to build himself a huge mansion. I work in the field of childhood mental health, and at this moment it makes me wonder, what was Steve's childhood like? Because no child is born to do what Steve Croman has done and brought so much misery to residents of New York City. I joined the Stop Croman Coalition around 2006 when he bought our building, and I found out he was named one of the 10 worst landlords in New York. What he didn't realize is I'm one of the 10 worst landlord nightmares in New York. And as are all of us here. And we're not nightmare people, but we're people who just want to live peacefully and have the basic services that we're entitled to when we pay our rent. We're here in front of Steve's mansion, which he obtained through tactics that caused so much grief for New York City residents. And we're here to make a point about the fact that even today, Steve Croman is worth something like $500 million. And yet it's just not enough. And we see a lot of that in society today, where no matter how much wealth people have, some people, it's just not enough. And it becomes like an addiction. Money, more money, money. Many of us have our addictions and we worry about money and other things, but to be so focused on money as a way of life is probably very painful, but people don't know that. It's like when you're taking heroin or other drugs, it's because you have so much pain. And Steve has so much pain, and then he inflicts it on the rest of us. And so I'm very honored to be here tonight with all of these other tenants who we work endless hours. And Cynthia Chafee is going to speak next, who has spent an untold amount of hours organizing and working with all of us to seek legislation and to bring about a level of justice, which we saw several years ago when Steve was convicted of tax fraud, which only came about when we put pressure on the Attorney General to investigate the two things that make our lives so difficult as Croman tenants, which are harassment and negligence. And thank you, everyone, for coming by tonight. Cynthia, are you here?
First, we're going to start with some caroling, right? Because we have some really creative carols that are written out for tonight. So I'm going to start us off with our first carol. Y'all ready? All right, y'all ready? You have your lyric sheets? We're gonna start off with the first carol. Stop Croman Coalition is around.
You better watch out. Don't freak us all out. Don't make us all shout. Beware the fallout. Stop Croman Coalition is around. We're making our lists. Check in them twice. Gonna find out the good and the lies. Stop Croman. Coalition is around. We'll see you when you're creeping. We know you're on the take. We know your threats and ploys and schemes. Your opinion will overtake. Oh, you better watch out. You better fall out. Too bad you will sprout. For that there's no doubt. Stop Croman. Coalition is around. You better watch out.
Where we have a skit. Okay.
Which is the first one? You're doing the orange skit. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So we have a skit now.
Okay, right here. Oh, this ain't no skit.
Oh, thank you.
Let's go.
Can we get
Okay, for the light. Good evening, everyone. And it is indeed a good evening. My name is Philly Abe. I am definitely in a more peaceful home these days. It's called heaven. But I couldn't miss this opportunity today to join all of you briefly. This caroling rally for justice against those who made my earthly home, especially my last year before succumbing to cancer in 2018, a living fucking hell. After more than almost 4 decades residing at 141 Ridge Street, which most people say, where? Where? What street? You see, it's a really short street. So to live there, you have to really be a pioneer of the Lower East Side. Yeah. So it was my home, my art studio, my piece of peace on earth. But I found myself in a situation that had gotten so much worse due to the hideous actions of some really big Grinches. The Cromans! Excuse me. See, that's what happens when you're you fly. You just fly spontaneously. So, the Cromans, with their merry band of bandits who robbed, pilfered, harassed, and literally put people like me in the streets, desperate, homeless, fighting to stay alive. All the while, they stayed cozy in this fakakta stolen mansion. I was weak, my friends, I was vulnerable. I was literally dying. That last year of my life while in hospice care at home, I suffered an even greater unfortunate fate due to no gas, little, if any, heat, and hot water, and dust, and noise, and harassment, and construction happening all around me. You see, the Grinches up there, they sat satiated, warm around fireplaces and lavished in hot showers and candlelit bubble baths. Oy. Pui, pui, pui. Oh well, I could go on forever, but my visit here today is short. So let me once again try to push back against this darkness as I had for decades, as you all know. Croman and Company, I got a message for you from my new landlord. Repentance can be found in the blink of an eye. Karma is a bitch. And last but not least, as commanded by my eternal landlord, do not do to anyone that which you wish would not be done to you. So, in the holiday spirit, I implore you, Croman and Company, to repent. Stop the greed, the avarice, like Mike said, the need for more. You want to know something, Croman? There ain't no pockets in a burial shroud. So, maybe, just maybe, if you heard our voice today, my voice from beyond, you can stop the greed, the avarice, the disdain, the destruction of the less fortunate, and let all those tenants live at home in peace. And we say, amen. But in true character of the person that I really still am and will always be, I wrote a little carol just for you. And I ask all of you in advance to forgive me if I don't go with the tune, because you see, our choir, we don't sing that kind of shit up. But I'll do it. Mr. Croman, you're a devil from hell. You're the Bernie Madoff of landlords and a slumlord as well. Mr. Croman, hey, no one should take pity on the worst landlord in the city. You're pure evil. Mr. Croman, your heart's an empty hole. Your hands are stained with your tenants' blood, and you were born missing the soul. Oh! And your tenants wouldn't touch you except to dump you in a 6-foot hole. You're a sociopath, Mr. Croman. You really are depraved. You're a deplorable psycho, like I said, who needs to be saved. Oh! The 3 words that describe you best are as follows, and I quote, sociopathic, and depraved. Oh! humiliate us, Mr. Croman. Your tenants despise you. You're the slimiest people on the planet. And the scummiest. And greediest too. Oh, and your wife. It's hard to get her name out of her mouth. Harriet, you're a cancer on society. With new depths of depravity. Oh! So you belong back in jail, this time without bail, at Rikers, or instead of the tombs, no more slap on the wrists for you, Steve Croman. So you cannot function another day. May they revoke your license, take all your buildings away. Oh, and guess what? A place awaits you in hell. But even hell won't do for tormenting your tenants and making them homeless too. So Steed and Harriet. Oh, and let me not forget that little twerp. That little turd. Jake, named after Jacob. Imagine. And don't let me start with the father, who's the president of Torah, which means light of Torah. Don't let me start, Croman. But, dear Cromans, no need to worry. Your lawyers will be there. Mitch Kossoff, Hudson Toad Rose, and Darth Vader Haberman. Oh, two. And let's not forget your infamous crew, Annabelle, Lizard. You can't make this shit up. Falconite, Orin, and Yao. But guess what? Even the bowels of hell are too good for you. So, Mr. Croman, happy fucking holidays!
Thank you so much, Philly and Doris. Next we have State Senator Brad Hoylman with us tonight. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to hand it off to him.
Nice to see you. Good evening, everyone. It's great to be here. Wow, this is a big mansion. My God. Over 20 tenants evicted to build this monstrosity. We've seen it before. We'll see it again. But I want to come out today and thank everyone here, the Stop Croman Coalition in particular, HCC, Goals, for all the work you're doing and bringing tenants together on this vitally important issue. And I also wanted to share with you some legislation that I'm introducing today in your honor. Today in your honor for all that you've been through, all the heartaches, all the trouble, all the lost time and wages, all of the fear and intimidation that you've endured. And so today, I'm introducing legislation that's going to stop predatory landlords like Steve Croman from getting resources, from getting financial support, from getting institutional leverage that they've used to evict tenants. So let me just tell you about this bill. So the bill that we're introducing, and Sam, I think I might need your help here to hold some of this.
Do you need a
and some light.
flashlight? Who does the flashlight? Oh, I have. Hold the flashlight to him. All right, hold on. Just go there and hold.
So we know that Steve Croman needs no introduction. He's infamous for the disregard he's exhibited toward you, toward safety, common sense, basic hygiene, and last but not least, housing and finance laws, which landed him in jail. Of course, we know that he pled guilty and was convicted in 2017 for grand larceny and a number of other felony charges stemming from his involvement in an elaborate tax and mortgage fraud scheme. The conviction was secured after a year-long investigation by the New York State Attorney General that revealed Mr. Croman falsified payroll records and padded out the value of his more than 140 buildings, ultimately securing over $45 million in mortgage refinancing and under false pretenses. And he was sentenced to a year in jail for his crimes. But his attacks on tenants didn't stop there. He's a regular on the worst landlord list, and the Attorney General found that he purposefully neglected rent-stabilized tenants and units into years of decrepitude in an effort to push them out. Not to mention the years of tenant harassment and intimidation. It's nearly unheard of for a landlord to serve jail time for these infractions, but the scale and scope of his violations were so egregious that he was sentenced to a year on Rikers Island. Well, his long history of abuse is so long that no one, not even Santa, has checked it twice. My office has worked with the impacted tenants for years to try to make things right when Croman strikes. But this is not sustainable. In the time since he was released from jail for his crimes, Croman has regained control of many of his buildings. Not only that, but he has gone on a shopping spree, buying up building after building, ready to terrorize a whole new batch of tenants. He's received untold millions of dollars from his lenders, apparently happy to hand him a check even after he was found guilty of defrauding them. The New York Community Bank financed Croman's purchase of the White Horse Tavern in Greenwich Village for $13.7 million, right after he was released from Rikers for defrauding that very bank. It's clear that he's unrepentant and unwilling to continue his reign of neglect and harassment. Just last month, tenants in Croman buildings in our Senate district further south received notices that their heat was going to be cut off because Croman had not paid his bills. Lawyers had to get involved, the Attorney General had to get involved, and thanks to the hard work of HCC, these tenants are not going to lose their heat in the depth of this coming winter. So we can't allow a person with that resume of this magnitude to continue to find new victims unchecked. I believe that if you have a record such as this, you are simply not fit to be a landlord. So today the legislation, Sam will show it to you, the legislation that we're introducing today would bar state-chartered banks from financing lawless landlords such as Steve Croman. Landlords with convictions and a history of tenant abuse will not be able to be handed more money to grow their evil empires and take advantage of even more New Yorkers. The tenants here today can testify to what it's like to live through a Croman tenancy. I'm sure they wouldn't wish it on anyone. I hope our legislation will help prevent a future generation of New Yorkers from enduring his tactics. We're going to continue to fight to protect tenants from the negligence and harassment that we've heard about here tonight. And we will also fight to make sure that no one else will be subject to Croman's reign. Today we turn off the tap on Croman. Today, with this legislation, we will turn off the current funding that is keeping these unscrupulous landlords in the business of harassing tenants. So this is our holiday gift to tenants that have been harassed by Steve Croman. We are turning off the spigot with this legislation. Let's get this bill passed. No more financing by state-chartered banks of unscrupulous landlords like Steve Croman. We say no more. Will you join me in helping to pass this legislation?
Yeah!
Are we going to get it passed in Albany this year?
Yeah!
No more Steve Cromans, am I right?
Yeah!
No more Steve Cromans.
No more Steve Cromans! No more Steve Cromans! No more Steve Cromans!
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much,
Thank you
everyone.
so much.
And for everything you do for us in the state. So, we're going to have Cynthia Chaffee come up, if you're ready. Are you ready for us? Yes. We're going to have our tenant, amazing tenant leader, come up and talk to us for a bit. And then we're going to get back to Carolyn, because that was a whole lot of fun. I don't know about y'all, but I love that. Okay? Take it away, Cynthia. Absolutely, Mama. I can hold it for you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. The Stop Croman Coalition, and I want to thank all of you for being here and joining your voices with ours in song. And I forgot my glasses.
Just a second.
You got it hanging from you.
Oh, there they go. I see what it is. Thanks, Peter.
Hey, Cynthia, you're in the New York State Senate now.
Right where she belongs.
Okay, so the Stop Croman Coalition, and I want to thank all of you for being here and joining your voices with ours in song. We especially thank our wonderful politicians, Brad Hoylman, for his presence here today, and deep commitment to protecting tenants and strengthening the laws. St. Augustine in the 4th century wrote, "He who sings well prays twice." Today, we Croman tenants come together along with all of you, to raise our voices in song to doubly protest our landlords, Steve and Harriet Croman. Steve Croman is a convicted felon who served 1 year in jail for mortgage fraud, and a civil suit was also brought on behalf of tenants who suffered severe harassment. But has Croman changed his ways? No, not at all. In fact, he's more defiant than ever. Once the Cromans acquire a building, the harassment begins. Deprivation of services such as no heat and no hot water, frivolous lawsuits, construction harassment, illegal entries, being stalked by his private investigators, not being issued... Sorry.
Can we get somebody to flip the pages for Cynthia, please?
Yeah. Not being issued leases, no cooking gas, etc. The authorities and agencies who are supposed to be protecting us tenants are failing us. There's a long list of Croman's gasless buildings. Why are so many Croman buildings without gas for years? Another holiday season has come and gone, and many Croman tenants remain without any gas to cook their Thanksgiving and holiday meals because they've had no gas for months and even years. What tenant can cook their family turkey or a lasagna on Christmas on a hot plate? Croman's Kingdom consists of close to 200 plus buildings in Manhattan, in addition to 3 mansions. This mansion behind us is 2 buildings that he bought. 2 buildings, and he evicted 23 families from these buildings. Yes. He also has another mansion in Sacaponic, Long Island, and one in Westchester and Town Ridge. Since his release from jail, Croman also bought a dozen or more buildings. In 2003, these two joining buildings here, it is the largest private residence in New York City at a total cost of $100 million. It consists of 2 swimming pools, 1 indoor pool and 1 outdoor pool, a basketball court, 16 bathrooms, 9 full and 7 half baths, a master bedroom with 2 fireplaces, a study, 5 closets and a dressing room, 6 wet bars, a wine storage room, a dumbwaiter, a library, a 1,055-foot family room, and a copper-clad penthouse with an open-roof pergola and 2 rooftop terraces and a koi pond. Yet with all this decadence, Mr. Croman feigns financial hardship, and he weaseled his way out of paying the restitution money to tenants for a couple of years. This January 2021, Croman's criminal lawyer, Mitch Kossoff, submitted papers to the courts alleging Croman was having financial difficulty. And Judge Shlomo Hagler took convicted felon Croman at his word and granted his request to delay the tenant's restitution payment for a couple of years. Had the harassment as a criminal offense law been on the books when Croman was on trial, his sentencing would have been more severe and tenants wouldn't continue to be tormented by Croman and his lawyers and agents. We're hoping to see changes brought against him in the future. If you couldn't make this stuff up, and the saga of Steve Croman continues. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. Let's give her another round. So we're gonna get back to the carols. I don't know about you guys, but I really, really, really like the carols. And I feel like your energy was up when we were singing. Okay? So let's get back to the carols. We're gonna go and sing "I'm Dreaming of a Warm Christmas." Can I get somebody up on the mic to help lead us in this song?
Everybody knows that song.
All right, I'm gonna have you come up
Thank you.
on the mic and lead us in the song then.
Let us know when you're ready. We have an instrumental for you.
Dreaming of a warm Christmas, just like the ones I used to know. We had heat and hot water. tenants praying, he doesn't leave us in the dark. I'm dreaming of a warm Christmas with every layer I put on. May your days be toasty and warm, or our days, Steve and Harriet are gone. Woo!
Amazing, 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 amazing. Let's give it a round for these lyrics. The creativity, the imagination, the merriment, or not. The truth.
The truth.
Thank you, Doris, in the spirit of Philly. Next up, we have another amazing tenant leader, Alba Roque. Let's give her a round.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
Voy a hablar español.
¿Está bien?
Sí. Acerca. Ok, vivo en el 343 de la calle 8. Mi nombre es Alba, primero que nada. Y hace 41 años. Sufriendo todo el tiempo. Ok, ¿ahora?
Sí, ahí.
He sufrido 41 años en este building. No ha sido fácil. Sin electricidad, a veces, sin calefacción, a veces, no arreglos. Cuando arreglan es una cosa que es mejor que no las toquen porque las dejan peor. Y ahora mismo estoy sin gas, desde el 4 de abril de este año. Pasé mis días de acción de gracia triste en la casa, porque no podía hacer nada por mi madre ni por mi hijo que es deshabilitado debido a comer LED en el apartamento donde vivo.
Wow.
Él quedó deshabilitado. Estoy sufriendo muchísimo, mi hijo está sufriendo, mi madre está sufriendo. Y no sé cuándo se va a acabar este abuso, no sé cuándo él nos va a responder correctamente. Porque si él puede vivir en una mansión, tener 3 mansiones, 20 mansiones, para todo, ¿por qué es que no puede tirarnos unas migajas a la gente que estamos necesitando?
¿Verdad?
De ustedes.
¿Verdad?
Por favor, wake up. And do something for the poor people. Stop. American Greece don't gonna take you nowhere, only to be more unhappy than you are, my dear.
Así es.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches. Gracias, Alba.
Buenísima noche, Alba Roque. Muchísimas gracias por darnos ese mensaje en español, que se lo agradece muchísimo. Y gracias a todos que estén pendientes en español, en IG Live, que tengan ese mensaje en español también. Perfecto. So, perfect. We're going to continue on with these carols. What do you guys say? Oh, I can't put on the next carol with that energy. Maybe a little bit more. What do you guys think about the 4th carol coming up?
Yeah!
Right. Let's get it going. 12 days of Croman. We want 0 days of Croman, though, right? Facts.
On the 12th day of Christmas, Steve Croman gave to me scary mice and matches,
warehouse apartments from mounting dead, construction noise disruption, menacing falls on apartment entries, fake regulation, no heat and hot water. Harriet's having calls, leaking pipes and ceilings to return rent checks, and eviction notice sent illegally.
Yes.
And can I shout out Angela Beckham, a beloved Croman tenant who helped rewrite and perform a lot of the songs that you are hearing tonight. Thank you, Angela. We love you. Next, we are going to sing a beloved song called Croman, 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 sung to the tune of Dreidel, Dreidel, Dreidel. Happy Hanukkah to everyone except Steve Croman. My landlord is Steve Croman. He's
My landlord is Steve Croman. He's hard at work each day, conspiring rows and rows to take my home away. Oh, Croman, 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 if the law worked like it should, you couldn't get away with it, they'd lock you up for good. As long as he can throw you out, he doesn't really care. Oh, Croman, 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 your legs are short and thin, and when we stand against you, a criminal will win.
All right. And thank you, beloved. I am actually the next speaker, so give me a minute for me to find.
Let's give it up for Michelle. Our fabulous housing organizer at Goals. We're working with the Stop Croman Coalition. And they've only been working at Goals for a few months, so that's amazing.
Thank you, Gold.
Okay, I'm okay.
I think we're okay with the mic right now.
Hi, everybody.
Hey!
Buenas noches. My name is Michelle. I've been supporting the Stop Croman Coalition as an organizer for Goals, or the good old Lower East Side. Before we end this program for tonight, I just wanted to ground us all in the demands that tenants of this coalition have been fighting for years. And at the end, I also want to take a moment to remember those who could no longer be with us in this fight for safer living conditions under Croman, like our beloved Philly. Croman tenants have gone months or even years without cooking gas, as the process to restore gas to buildings is so unnecessarily complicated. Landlords like Steve Croman often use gas outages in their buildings to withhold tenant services from tenants and drive them out of their valuable and often rent-stabilized apartments due to uninhabitable conditions. We ask that elected officials will work with us to continue to target HPD, Con Ed, and most importantly, Steve Croman, to speed up the process of restoring gas in his buildings. We also need to reform gas restoration laws to better protect tenants as they were initially intended to, because the current state of gas restoration leaves tenants stuck with a hot plate, if that, and little to no abatement for months or years. And that is no way to live. That is shameful. And since entering into a settlement with the former Attorney General's office and coming in and out of prison, Croman's harassment towards tenants has persisted. Tenants report worsening apartment conditions, gas outages, no heat or hot water, illegal entry into their homes, harassment through frivolous litigation, and incorrect leases or lease renewals that never come. The mechanisms that are supposed to hold landlords accountable, like HPD, the Department of Buildings, and the Attorney General's office, unfortunately do not have the power to truly hold slumlords like Croman accountable. These fines that these landlords accrue go uncollected, and existing laws continue to shield landlords in their predatory behavior. We must continue to pass pro-tenant laws such as the Housing Stability and Tenant Protection Act of 2019 and Good Cause and the Tenant Opportunity to Purchase Act being championed for next year. And we must continue to build the political will to make New York City unprofitable and untenable for predatory landlords like Steve Croman. And to remind us of why we are continuing this fight to build tenant power, I wanted to take a moment to remember former Stop Croman Coalition members who are no longer with us, like our beloved Philly Abe, a Lower East Side resident who passed away with no heat, hot water, or cooking gas in her final days as she battled pancreatic cancer. I also want us to remember late tenants, Mary Ann Miller, another co-founder of the Stop Croman Coalition, as well as Bill Cavallo and Jonathan Berlin, also Croman tenants. We also remember Claudio Patino, a Latino construction worker and a father of two, who tragically passed away due to unsafe working conditions at one of Steve Croman's buildings on the Lower East Side. Let us take a moment to remember them before this program comes to an end. Thank you. We love you, Philly. We love you, Marianne. We love you, Bill, Jonathan, and Claudio. May you rest in peace and power.
Yes. And may their memories be for a blessing for us all.
For us all. May their memories be a blessing. As this program comes to a close, we wanted to lift our spirits tonight by ending with a beloved carol, Feliz Navidad, rewritten for Croman's tenants and the Stop Croman Coalition.
Woo!
And remember, if you are reading the program, we do have to repeat every paragraph as we sing.
You don't want to do it? No, we can share. We can share.
Okay. Does anyone want to come up here and sing along with me?
I got you.
Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Próspero año y felicidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Próspero año y felicidad. We could all have a Merry Christmas. We could all have a Merry Christmas. We could all have a Merry Christmas if the Cromans had a heart. We could all have a Merry Christmas. We could all have a Merry Christmas. We could all have a Merry Christmas if the Cromans had a heart. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad, próspero año y felicidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad, próspero año y felicidad. Para todos menos Croman. We could all have a Merry Christmas. We could all have a Merry Christmas. We could all have a Merry Christmas if the Cromans had a heart. Oh, my bad. We could all have a Merry Christmas. We could all have a Merry Christmas. We could all have a Merry Christmas if we take Cromans had a heart. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Let me hear those bells. Feliz Navidad, próspero año y felicidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad, próspero año y felicidad. We could all have a Merry Christmas. We could all have a Merry Christmas. We could all have a Merry Christmas if the Cromans would depart. Merry Christmas. We could all have a Merry Christmas. We could all have a Merry Christmas if the Cromans would